Hello all, welcome back once again to another interesting episode under the Azadi Kamrat Mahotsav story series by Mommy Show Musings. Today I'm going to talk about a person who acted like a phoenix in the ancient Indian history. That means literally he has arisen from his own ashes to prove his mettle. He is none other than Chola from the Chola dynasty. The moment we hear Chola dynasty, we always remember either Rajaraja Chola or Rajendra Chola as they are the most famous kings from the Chola dynasty. And we only know very limited information about these people, unfortunately. But the amount of service they had done to the motherland is so much that if we start talking about them, we can spend years talking about their good deeds, how they had ruled their kingdom, and all the stuff. But I'm not going to talk about all those imperial kings from the Chola dynasty. I want to talk about the uh, person who can be compared to Phoenix, who has risen from his own ashes and proved that the disability cannot stop him because I mean, he is capable of achieving anything. He is none other than Karikala Chola. The Chola dynasty, the first reference of Chola dynasty could be found as early as 600 Common Era. And we can divide the Chola dynasty rule into four segments, which is early Cholas from 600 to 300 Common Era time, the interregnum Cholas who ruled from 3rd to 9th century, imperial Cholas where we get to see Rajaraja Chola, Rajendra Chola, and all these people between 9th to 11th century where the Chola Empire has gone to its peaks. Then the later Cholas where the Chola Empire started declining, that is between 11th to 12th century. The first references to these early Cholas could be found in the Sangam literature, and Sangam literature is the oldest form of text written in the form of poems, verses, or the normal text uh, on the walls as inscriptions on the temple walls or inscriptions that could be found on the in the forts or on the palm leaf inscriptions. And from there only we could figure out what is the family tree of the early Cholas period. And we are concentrating only on the Ilam Checheni, who is the father of Tirumala Vallavan. Now you must be wondering, why am I talking about Tirumala Vallavan when I introduce the main protagonist for today's story as the Karikala Cholan? Because Vallavan is the real name of Karikala Cholan. But how he got the name Karikala Cholan is a different story altogether. At the time of Ilam Checheni, the Chola Empire is more or less limited to Tanjavur or Tanjore, Trichy, and the small areas around it. And that is what is called, we call it as Sangam period. And Ilam Checheni had only one boy by name Tirumala Vallavan. But unfortunately, by the time this boy has reached the fifth year, Ilam Checheni had passed away. And then because of the so much of internal feuds and so many ambitious people within the Chola courts, as well as their famous arch rivals, that is Cheras and Pandyas. Ilam Checheni's son, Tirumala Vallavan, was banished from the court. Actually, rather, his mother had taken him away into the forest so that his life could be spared. But during that process, his mother also lost her life, and he was raised. Tirumala Vallavan was raised by his uncle in the dense forest somewhere near the present day Karur. And during after a certain period, maybe couple of years later, maybe when the boy has entered teenage, or when we really don't have any real proofs as to when he decided to come back to the towns to proclaim his throne. And that is the time when he decided that this is really the time that enemies should know that I'm alive and I am the rightful owner of the Chola throne. He came into the cities, and that is the time when, because of the common public's revolt, these Cholas or Cheras couldn't continue their uh, figurative head as the head of the Chola Empire. So they had to really start searching for a new heir for Chola Empire, and they all felt that this boy Tirumala Vallavan has already lost his life in the forest. That is the conclusion to which these enemies have come actually. So they had sent an elephant with giving a garland and asking that elephant to identify who is the best hair, possible hair for the Chola Empire. And that was the kind of tradition which we keep hearing in most of the Indian historical stories. And this elephant, which belongs to the Chola court, knew that this teenage boy, who has this teenage boy or the 10-year-old boy, whatever it may be, you can call this small boy is the heir to the Chola Empire. So this elephant went and directly put the garland in this boy's neck. Though I'm showing a representative photograph of a elephant putting garland in a bigger elder person, you can imagine that this should be a small boy because I didn't get a real photograph of that particular sort. The moment this elephant put the garland in this boy's neck, everybody, I mean, all these heads, local heads who are ruling the current Chola Empire on behalf of the Pandya and Chera kings and all those other traitors from the Chola Empire. Those figurative heads asked, "Who are you? Where did you come from?" Then this boy replied that I am the actual heir of Chola Empire. My father is Ilam Chechini and my name is Tirumala Valavan. And I was, living in the so and so forest with the help of my uncle. As a boy, he had mentioned all his story, with a very open heart. He didn't know that these people are the main traitors and main reason for his father's death as well. So immediately, to appease the common public, they said, "Yeah, you are the heir for Chula Empire, and we will take you and make you a king." They took him to the royal fort and immediately prisoned him, put him in back in behind the bars. They didn't want him to be the heir, right? Because they wanted to upset up the entire Chola kingdom, isn't it? So not only they put him behind the bars, they had stealthily put the entire prison to fire so that this boy will die in that fire and then they can actually completely annex this Chola Empire to their kingdom. That was their original deadly plan. But our Tirumala Vallavan has narrowly escaped this raging fire in that prison with again once again with the help of his maternal uncle. And during that process, he had burned one of his legs completely, and it has become like a real black charcoal. And that is the reason why his name got changed to Karikala Cholan. Kari means black, Kalan means the leg in Tamil. So that is when the people started affectionately calling him Karikala Cholan. And because of that, he also started limping little bit. But this limb, not this charcoal turned leg, has not stopped him. The moment he escaped, he kept quiet for a couple of more years till he could regroup certain people, mostly around 500 to 1,000 people, the common public who was supporting him, and get them the basics of the military training, along with for which his maternal uncle has really helped, declared the war. Which is called when the Battle of Veni, known very much in the Sangam literature, near Kovilakvenni, a small town near Tanjavur in today's modern India. He called all his opponents for the war. At that point of time, the Cheras and Pandyas have come for a negotiation, and they both colluded. And they not only both of them, they had actually called all the neighboring small chieftains and kings and jamindaris to fight against this small young boy. So total 11 more additional chieftains and yeah, local feudal lords, small kings, all of them have colluded with the Pandyas and Cheras kings. So this Karikala Cholan had to fight with 11 plus 2, 13 different enemies at the same time. But he never backed out. Though his advisors were telling him to take a step back, he had just put his foot forward and said that I'm going to fight this fight to recapture my motherland because of my love for my parents as well as motherland. I am ensuring that not even a single head will roll down from my side, but all the heads from the other parties will roll down and will fall down. And that is my promise to the motherland. With this war cry, he has entered into the battle of Eni and he had killed and the Pandya king, he had injured the Chera king very badly, who had to flee to the forest, nearby forest, just like how this small boy had fled once upon a time. And then he had taken the oath to starve himself to death because he was defeated in the hands of a young boy. So that's when he has actually proclaimed himself as the rightful owner of the Chola kingdom. After this war, when Karikala Cholan or Tirumala Vallavan was walking down in the streets of Tanjavur, all the people, people, have assembled in two lines, and like a typical movie setting, you can see that people were waiting for their real king to come and ascend the throne. They were waiting for the coronation ceremony. Um, all the I mean, they could see the dust rising from the back because people are riding, coming in the horses, elephants, and all that. In front of them, you can see a small boy walking with the sword in his hand, limping slightly, coming, and his full body is having blood, a lot of wounds on his body. The moment the common public saw, everybody started crying, saying like, "My our young king has taken so much trouble to keep our Chola kingdom intact, and he had had put his life on the line to save us." With that, I mean, basically, they it moved their hearts, and all the old people, ladies in that group, have come down, started tearing their saris, attending to his wounds, even before the coronation ceremony. And this is a place where you can see the king mingling with the common people in a very normal way. He was not having any inhibitions in mingling with the common people. Now the common people were coming and hugging him, shaking hands, everything. So they all felt that king is one among themselves. That is when the bonding between the king and the public has started actually happening. Even after getting coronated as the king, Karikala Chola never stopped. He felt that only he needs to become a good I mean, he needs to expand his kingdom and also become a good administrator. Then only people will start loving him. And that is when he started expanding his kingdom. He went all the way up to Avanti, Magadha in North India, captured all of them. And there are some inscriptions which talk about Karikala Cholan's visit to the Avanti and Magadha kingdom, which could be found on a later date even in both those kingdoms, as well as some of the inscriptions back in Tanjore, especially from the Sangam literature, talk about his visits. And in the similar way, he has captured Sri Lanka as well. And maybe this is the first time when people actually talk about this king going on ships to wage a war with the Sri Lankan kings. And while returning back from Sri Lanka, he got 12,000 people as a prisoners of war. Now, that is the first time when somebody is getting prisoners of war for a certain purpose. You know that? Do you know why he has got these people? Because Karikala Cholan has a vision. He is a man with a vision. He saw that the mighty Kaveri River, which starts from all the way in near somewhere near Coorg in Karnataka and flows all the way between Karnataka and Tamil Nadu and reaches Bay of Bengal on the eastern side. And it's a very huge, mighty river which really swells in size during the monsoon period. But as soon as the monsoons are over, all the water drains off to the sea, and the so-called the delta region, that is from during in the Trichy, Tanjore, and all these areas, becomes totally arid, and they couldn't do any agriculture. People are suffering so much because they don't have a proper livelihood. And so, seeing this Kaveri River, he had this vision to I mean, basically stop the water entering Kaveri River's water entering into the Bay of Bengal, and use that water to provide a proper livelihood for his people. And that is when he wanted to build a dam on the Kaveri River. And it's Kaveri River, as I told you, it's a very mighty river which swells to double, triple its size during the monsoon period. So building a dam which can withstand that fury of Kaveri River during the monsoons is a huge, humongous task, to be honest. It is not at all possible for anybody. And how can he achieve that? That is, this idea came to him when he was visiting Sri Lanka and visiting some of the beaches in Sri Lanka. He realized that when he stands firm on the beach sand and water hits his legs seems to go deep. But actually, they haven't gone that deep. But the next wave, when it hits, his legs will go a little more deeper, and that's how he is able to stabilize his body, the weight of his body completely. So he used the same principle. I hope you understood, right? So when you are standing, you can feel the sand washing away from your feet when the wave pulls itself back into the sea, right? The more the number of waves come and hit you, the more the more amount sand gets washed away, and your feet get sunken deeper and deeper on the beach sand, isn't it? In the similar way, he felt that if we can use huge boulders to build the foundation in the Kaveri River, the more the water comes, the deeper the foundation will go. That way, basically the foundation can become more and more stronger. With this single thought, he has used all the 12,000 prisoners of the war whom he got from Sri Lanka to start putting huge boulders in the Kaveri River. And Kaveri River actually bifurcates itself into two parts, and one of the because of this bifurcation, we can see that Sri Rangam Island emits here, and then near Trichy, both these two parts join almost together, and more in the Koli Dam part, which is the second part, is a more furious segment of Kaveri River, which takes all the flood water during the monsoon time and takes away all the remaining water in Kaveri during the regular times. So he realized that this place where we are having this red circle is a place where he can really build an aneckad or the dam, which can not only which will stop the normal regular Kaveri water to get diverted into the Koli Dam, and if possible get all the flood water also a little bit back into the Kaveri River. I mean, basically, this is the time that happened is around the 600 common era. My dear friends, there is no engineering issues to teach him how to build a dam. There are no engineering mechanisms or something like that. It's all in the ancient Indian technology which he used with the help of his gurus, and they have started constructing a huge Kalani Dam. Kalani Dam is what they call here. You can see the from to basically mingle both the streams of the Kaveri, and he has the first as a first step to build this dam, he has started raising the banks height on both sides of the river. And once this height is basically has come to certain level, he has used huge boulders to form the basically the foundation of the Kalanai Dam. And now the surprising fact is the first layer of boulders were put onto the Kaveri River, right? They had gone down, settled down. After a couple of days, they had used the second set of boulders. But what is the guarantee that these boulders have to go and stick on the original the first set of boulders which we are using in the Kaveri River? That typically in modern day constructions, what we use either cement or something cement to join both the boulders and join both the bricks, right? Here in building Kalanai Dam, they haven't used even a single particle of cement. They use some chemical which is totally insoluble, and they had applied to the bottommost layer of the second boulder and put that boulder on top of the first boulder. So when this second boulder goes and hits the first boulder, both of them will join together. It's something like a glue, you can say. But this glue is insoluble. It is not cement. And what chemical people use, nobody knows even now. So look at their ingenuity. Or you can say, this is the ancient Indian technology which we need to really appreciate. That's how they had built the Kalanai Dam and made Tanjavur, Trichy as a rice bowl of India, which even today gives most of the rice gets produced in these two areas. The Sir Arthur Cotton, who is the famous British engineer who has helped in building a lot of big dams, big bridges across various mighty rivers like Godavari, Brahmaputra, and all these places, have visited this Kalanai Dam and felt that term this as one of the engineering marvels, one of the engineering temples where people can come and learn a lot about the engineering technology which Karikala Chola and his team has used in building this Kalanai Dam. Not only that, after building the dam, he has also built a lot of canals to irrigate the agricultural fields across the delta region in Trichy, Tanjavur, and all the nearby villages. So, with these canals, today almost 10 lakh hectares of land gets irrigated, and that is why Tanjavur, Trichy are being called as the rice bowls of India. So, no, now my question is, my dear friends, if we if Pandit Jawaharlal Nehru has turned Bakra Nangal as the temple of the modern India, when we had built the first dam on the Bakra Nangal Dam post independence, why we cannot term this as another engineering term, the oldest engineering temple that every engineering student, rather civil engineering student, should visit and try to understand. Why can't this be termed, converted into a museum where people can learn more about the ancient Indian technology? And there are so many things that we can really learn, isn't it? That's all is my story about Karikala Cholan for today. But there are so many things that we can really appreciate and learn from his this thing. How to arise from any bad situation. He lost his parents at a tender age, spent all time alone in deep jungles, without losing his morale or without losing the sight of his girls. He has come down, occupied the throne, despite the fact that he developed a bad limp in his leg. He's injured his leg badly. He never stopped from anything, isn't it? Even after that, he wanted to do good for his people, which he's achieved in his lifetime. And his name has to be written in golden letters across the Indian history. But unfortunately, none of us know. So the question remains: what are we learning? Are we learning about the Mughal invasions, British invasions, and getting our own Indian history? You have to think about it and let me know in your comments. That's all is the story for today. Bye bye.